All right. Welcome to the Philly Fox and Danny D Eagles podcast. That's the star of the show, Philly Fox. And I'm your host, Danny D. And we are coming to you from our Eagles perch in the Ed Bobko Memorial Studios in beautiful Morristown, PA. Today we are going to preview Week 17, the 12-3 Eagles versus the 7-8 Dallas Cowboys, a 1 o'clock game in Philly. And Philly will give his picks on the rest of Week 17's games across the NFL, as well as pick the score for the Eagles-Dallas game. But let's get started with the big news of the week, is that Jalen Hurts is out with a concussion, and Pickett is going to be the starter, and Tanner McKee is going to be the backup. Well, how do you feel about Pickett being in there this week, Philly?
I'm glad he'll get more reps this week. That's the important part.
Get more reps during the week in practice, so he should have a better repertoire, be more familiar with the plays and stuff like that going into the week. Because I know Mailata and Barkley both commented that how well he did, considering that he was running plays that he had never even run before. I'm sure Christmas might have, the holidays put a little damper on how many days, how much they practiced and everything. But and how about this? And how about McKee? If he's needed, do you think he can? What do you think he can do?
We did good in preseason, but we haven't seen him against a real team yet.
Right. But he's, but a lot of people like him. A lot of people like him. So, yeah, and I feel good about Pickett, actually. I don't really think Pickett did that bad of a job at all. If you would take his stats and whatever they were, and then going into that game and say, hey, look, Jalen gets hurt, Pickett's got to go in. This is what he's going to be able to produce. These are the amount of points they're going to score. This is going to be the amount of points the Eagles are going to score. I think you would have felt good about that, and you would have thought that it would have been good enough to win, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think really it was the defense that actually let us down a little bit. So all right. So how do you think? How do you think all this is going to affect the play calling now that Pickett is going to be the starter?
They might do more Barkley runs to get Pickett comfortable before he starts throwing more.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And then you never know. Kellen Moore might try to, go the opposite. Maybe he starts out with a couple quick passes to AJ, because that seemed to be Pickett's favorite target last week. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Anything. So on the things that the Eagles didn't do well last week, let's just say on defense. What would you say that was, or what do you think they need to work on for this week?
Well, containing the mobility of the quarterback, even though Cooper Rush isn't as mobile as Jay and Daniels.
Yeah, because that was definitely a problem last week. They didn't spy. They didn't put a spy on Daniels, and they didn't try to contain him as much. They just kind of rushed him, and he's isn't he the leading
rusher for a quarterback?
For a quarterback in the league. So I don't know. And I think they had the same problem against the Carolina Panthers, and that quarterback,
Bryce Young,
right? He's another
mobile
quarterback, right? And he kind of, we had a little trouble with him. We just got lucky in that game, and we pulled out a win. We didn't get as lucky against the Commanders. Boy, I almost said that R word again. I have a hard time stopping myself from saying that, and I'm trying to be politically correct and not do it. So, all right. So anyway, with the how about the offense? What would you say the offense needed to correct from last week? Because obviously let me rephrase that. Just what do you think they can do better than last week? Because I don't put last week's loss on the offense. What do you think they could do better?
We'll just score more touchdowns, don't settle for field goals as much.
Right, yeah, okay. I mean, some of those drives were ate up some time, but you'd still always like to come away with a
touchdown.
With the touchdown and stuff. Right. So, and then special teams, I mean, they didn't do bad, but they could definitely done better, right?
I guess Washington had some long returns, but we don't talk about them because they fumbled and it just gets swept under the rug, you know.
Yeah, right. So, but even though it didn't hurt us all the time, you definitely don't want to be giving the other team such great field position. When, after a kickoff, and they definitely did that. And then Elliott was better. Man, I thought he was gonna hit that field goal
Before half.
Yeah, it was just came up a little short. But I'm not going to say he needs to work on it because his accuracy, other than that, has been good. At least it was only short. At least it was going to be good if it was long enough. Okay, so all right. So who are you looking for to have a big game and why?
Well, Barkley, for the reasons I mentioned, and plus the all-time leading rushing records in his sights. So
yeah. I mean, even though he didn't get much in the second half, the first half was so good last week that it's still in play. So yeah, and myself, I'm looking. We kind of go a little opposite on this, but I don't disagree with you at all. I think it's going to be AJ. I think Pickett's going to lean on AJ, and AJ's going to have a big day. So another question I had for you, Philly, was once the game is in hand, maybe in the second half or in the fourth quarter, do you think they'll rest any of the starters?
Only if it's a blowout, like 40-14 or something.
Yeah, that would be nice, right? 40-14, boy. Hey, you never know. I mean, it could be a close game like you predicted, or it could be a blowout. I mean, Dallas, we don't know which I know which Eagles team is going to show up, but I don't know which Dallas team is going to show up. Okay, so what else we got here? All right, so I think we're done with that part as far as the preview. So let's go to picking the scores. And so let's okay. So you already started out your 3-0 in the first games played. We apologize. Christmas happened and we didn't get this. We didn't get everything filmed as early as we wanted to. So, but you can take my word for it. He did make these picks and he did win. He picked the Chiefs over the Steelers. That was a pretty easy pick. Ravens, Texans. He did pick the Ravens and the Seahawks and the Bears, and he picked the Seahawks. So he started out. He's already 3-0. So let's go to the rest of the games. We got Chargers and the Patriots.
I picked the Chargers because they're fighting for a wild card spot right now.
Okay. Yep. They definitely have a lot more to play for. Okay, and next game, Broncos at the Bengals.
I got the Bengals. Both teams are kind of fighting for a playoff spot, but the Bengals need to keep any hope alive.
Right, and they're at home. Okay, and we got Cardinals and the Rams.
I got the Rams because this might insult the division if they win. So
okay, yep, could be a good win for them, and they're at home. Okay, you got Colts and Giants.
I got the Colts. Colts are still alive, but it's highly unlikely, but they have more to play for than the Giants.
Yeah, Giants got absolutely nothing to play for. Okay, we got Jets and Bills.
I got the Bills.
Yeah. Thank God you said that. I'd definitely be looking for a new podcast partner if you had said the Jets. Okay, Titans and Jaguars.
Well, both teams are eliminated, but I think the Titans are slightly better.
Yeah, well, and I'm not picking them, but boy, I always hope for Dougie to get a win. Everybody loves Dougie. So we got Raiders and Saints.
Well, same story. Both teams eliminated. It's just like a get this season over with game.
Yeah. It's a shame to say it. I got a good friend who's a Raiders fan, and but he knows it too, man. They're just not that good this year. And the Saints started out on fire, and it just seems like the Eagles beat them, and their season just kind of deflated after that. Okay, and what else we got? We got Panthers and the Buccaneers.
Unfortunately, the Bucs.
Yeah, your favorite team, the Bucs, right? You never want to pick those guys. All right, we got Dolphins and Browns.
I got the Dolphins because the Dolphins are still alive, even though it's highly unlikely.
Right. Okay. And then, wow, this should be a really good game. Hey, my phone's talking to me. So we got Packers and Vikings, a real good game.
Oh, I got the Vikings because of the home team.
Okay.
And they're still fighting for that number 1 seed. So.
Yeah, that's still in play. They're at home and they definitely have more to play for. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get to watch that game, but that would be a good one to watch for sure. All right, so we got Falcons in Washington.
Unfortunately, Washington.
Yeah, we don't like picking Washington, but yeah, I don't know. You know, I'll be honest with you. I've never seen the Falcons this year. I only hear bits and pieces. I really don't know much about them, and I know, unfortunately, I know how good Washington is. We got Lions and the 49ers.
I got the Lions because same thing. They're fighting for that number 1 seed, and if they slip up, the Vikings could overtake them.
Yeah, well, and then they're playing the 49ers.
Niners were eliminated. Nothing to play for.
I mean, we can take a little pleasure in the fact that they really stink this year, can't we?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, neither one of us feels sorry at all for the 49ers.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is probably the only time I'm going to say this, but I hope the Lions crush them. I hope they crush whoever they're playing, and that happens to be the 49ers this week.
Yes.
Okay, so now we're going to pick the score for Dallas and the Eagles. So what do you got?
I got the Eagles 24, Dallas 17.
Okay, well, you got the Eagles winning. I knew that was coming. I just didn't know how close you were going to put it. So you got them winning by 1 touchdown. All right. I got no problems with that score. I'm bad at picking scores. I sometimes can pick a winner, but I'm terrible at scores because you just never know how a game's going to go. But we'll see how this all plays out. Okay, so that's our Eagles Dallas preview. That's our picks for the week. So remember, let's wrap this up here. So remember, if you don't hate us, like us, subscribe, and follow us so you don't miss an episode. And we're going to wrap this up and
Fly, Eagles, fly.
All right, good show.